What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out this, the Kobo Libra Colour from Rakuten. It's Kobo's first e-ink reader, as far as I'm aware, with a color e-ink screen. You can kind of see it a little bit there with the title of the book that my wife is currently reading. And speaking of wives, stick around to the end of this video. I'm going to tell you who exactly I think this is for. I guess spoiler alert, wives might be part of that demographic, but stick around to the end to find out who. If you're new to the channel, here we talk about tech that marries form and function. We like tech that both improves our lives and looks good while doing so. So if that sounds cool to you, please consider subscribing and like this video for more. Also, if at any time during this video you'd like to pick up one of your very own Kobo Libra colors for yourself, there will be links in the description, and we will try our best to get you all a discount code. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So I think the first thing that stuck out to me about this device was actually the packaging. I think it's very intentionally designed. The prints that is inside and outside of the box, things like that. But inside here, you get the Kobo Libra Colour device. You get the USB-C charging cable and a quick start guide. And then I also unlocked the stylus as well, which we'll get to here in a little bit, as well as the sort of cream colored folio case that you can purchase separately as well. Ultimately, I loved the design and first impressions. I love how the stylus fits in this little crease here next to the device, and then the folio is quite thoughtful as well. The buttons are nice and clicky here for the page turning, and the color here is very nice as well. It's a 7-inch screen and it's using Kaleido 3 technology if you're into knowing all that kind of stuff. Just know it's kind of the latest and greatest and standard in sort of the e-ink color display industry right now. Right, so let's get into this display and the reading experience here. So like I said, it's a 7-inch e-ink touchscreen. I have found even typing on this to be very responsive, which is quite nice. I review quite a bit of e-ink devices and some are just a nightmare to type on. This was actually quite easy, like when typing in the Wi-Fi password and stuff like that, when searching for books. Quite an easy experience typing on this display. The resolution on here is 1680 by 1264, which is 300 ppi for black and white color, and then 150 ppi for the colors that appear here. So in terms of the reading experience, so it is an e-paper display, so if you're outside or in bright light, you don't actually have to have any sort of light on it because of the way it is ink in a way, so it bounces light off of whatever light sources around you. However, there is a front light on here, which is nice, and then it is sort of color tone adjustable, so more blue light or more yellow light depending on your reading environment. There's also a natural light auto switching button that you can turn on, which sort of checks the ambience around you and picks the light that it thinks mirrors that surrounding setting best. I found it to be fine. They're calling that the Comfort Light Pro, and you can even have like a bedtime set on here if you're someone who reads a lot during the day and right before bed. You can have a certain time where it sort of switches the light over to be more comfortable on your eyes as you're gearing down for bedtime. There's also dark mode available for around bedtimes or nighttime reading, which just sort of inverts the colors here, so everything's black and the text on the screen is white. It does support landscape mode, which I think looks really nice actually. Like, this is kind of a nice little vibe, to be honest. I was telling my wife how I really like the way that that sort of looks, and to have sort of your page turning buttons down here, it's just kind of a nice way. And then it does sort of auto rotate here, so if you're at the pool or something, you want to switch hands, or if you're laying in bed sideways and you want to switch hands, you can do that as well. There's also adjustable like font sizes and spacing and all that kind of thing too. So let's talk about the stylus. Moving on, this is the Kobo Stylus 2. It's a very capable stylus. It feels very nice to hold. This is an actual eraser up here at the top, which is nice, and then you can obviously write here with the tip, which these are changeable, and they throw in a couple extras for you as well because this will wear down over time. And then there's a button here, which I think they call the highlight button. Basically, if you click and hold it and then use the pencil or stylus here, it switches to highlighter, which I found really great when reading. It's nice and easy to switch between that and underlining or marking things out, that kind of thing. So you can, obviously be reading here a book and maybe be circling things, underlining things, and then just clicking and holding the highlight button allows you to highlight, and it does sort of click to the text, so you have these nice straight highlighter lines, which I love. You can do multiple colors. As you can see here, I'm using like a yellow highlighter, but you can do pink and blue and all sorts of things. If I pull down, let's see, you can change the pen color as well, so being able to use like a green, let's see, a green color here on the pen, and you can change the highlighters too. You can come over here to like a notebook kind of section here, my notebooks. And you can take, you know, obviously notes here if you want to. You can write around, use the highlighter colors and stuff too, but which is fine if you're taking quick notes, maybe a quick to-do list or something. But I've never thought this size screen is great for like detailed note taking in college or something like that. In fact, I see this being more of like a markup and highlighter tool than something where you're planning out your week and your day here. There is availability to that. You can have templates and things like that. And if you're used to writing in smaller notebooks or something, this would actually be really great. I've found the writing experience to be quite nice on this. There's a little bit of latency here. You can see that in the above camera, a little bit more than people might like, but it's totally workable. I love like all the colors you have here, and I think the colors here are a nice pastel muted color scheme, which I think looks really nice. But like I said, I see this being more of a tool for reading and highlighting things, or like if you're looking at PDFs on here and stuff, marking up, or maybe if you're a student and you want to sort of edit your paper with a pencil to kind of get a different vibe from being on the computer all the time, that's an option here too. Okay. All right, so let's talk about battery and performance, just kind of the more nerdy stuff, which you may or may not care about. I think the biggest thing is they tout about 4 weeks of battery life, obviously depending on usage, obviously depending on if you're using the front light a ton or using the pencil tool a ton, things like that. But it is a 2050 milliamp hour battery. There's 32 gigabytes of internal storage here, and from what I can tell, there isn't a slot for more storage. Let me check on that actually. Yeah, so it's kind of baked in there. And a dual core 2 gigahertz processor. There is a USB-C charging port, of course. Welcome to the 21st century. That doesn't really make any sense. And there is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support. You'll find you can listen to audiobooks on this as well, so being able to connect your headphones is a nice feature. In terms of design and durability, now this is the section of these videos that I enjoy most. I love technology that is designed well, and I think this is one of the coolest, well thought out designs for a reader like this. First of all, super lightweight. For those interested, it's IPX8 waterproof, so no worries accidentally dropping this in the bath or something if you're reading there, or if you're by the pool and it gets splashed on. I think it's able to be like under a certain amount of water for like 30 minutes or something. So fully waterproof, which is fantastic. Like I said, it's thin, it's light, and one of my favorite design features here is, do you see in the overhead camera, might be kind of hard to see, this whole edge here is kind of curved upwards, and this feels so nice because of that. Holding it this way, like I mentioned earlier, holding it this way, having your thumbs have this little lip. Oh, you can see it a little bit better overhead now. Having that little lip, you just have a certain like grip here, which I haven't seen in many other devices. The screen looks amazing. I'd say the biggest thing is because there's a lit screen under here, you do have a good amount of separation between actually like where the content is, and then you have a little bit of gap between that and the front glass, which is fine. It's not a big deal. And especially if you're looking directly down like this, I think when you get into writing, it matters a little bit more, but I just think this thing is just so nice and cute and easily holdable, lightweight. I think the case also has a lip here to sort of match that. And then they've even gone as far as one to leave a hole cut out here for the kind of strangely placed on and off button, but I don't really ever use that button because with the folio case, when you close it, puts it to sleep, and then you open it, turns it back on fairly quickly, which is nice. I love this little compartment here for the pen. It keeps it safe and it's not over here on the edge, so it's gonna fall off or anything. And then you'll see too, the whole case itself follows that same sort of curve that the device does. And I just think that looks so nice. It's so light, compact, almost like a perfect little square. Throw it in a bag, put it in a brief, like it looks nice. It's just well designed, and I am very excited about the design here. I think it looks so nice. Some other cool features, it's made with recycled and ocean-bound plastic, which is pretty neat. So reusing those plastics, which is cool for sustainability and that kind of stuff if you care about that. It does come in a black and white version, and then there's also, I think, a black and white version of the pen, as well as multiple sort of folio covers, but they all have this nice like pastel kind of tone to them, which looks amazing. Now, in terms of like the software here in the ecosystem, the biggest bummer to me is no Kindle integration. Now there's like workarounds to like get a Kindle book and then convert it to an e-publication and then put it on here and stuff. But I think as we start to talk about who I think this is for, if you've never bought a Kindle book before, if you don't have a Kindle library, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to pick up this device and start a Kobo library. Obviously, Kindle, Amazon has been around forever. They're massive. They're not going anywhere, but Rakuten is also quite a big company, and these devices are so well made. I think if you were to buy into their digital library of books, you'd be safe. And in much the same way Kindle and Amazon has their whole ecosystem where like I can read a book on here and then read it on my phone, you can also get the app on your phone and share those books across devices as well. So it's kind of a very similar experience to Kindle. In fact, I think the device here is kind of better. So I don't know. There's something to be said too for like this company really honing in on this and not having 1,000 different devices they have to keep up with and different teams working on them. I don't know. This is just nice. It feels very intentional and very specific to the digital book reading experience. Now, it does take EPUBs, PDFs, MOBI, JPEG, GIFs, PNGs, BMPs, TIFF files, TXTs, HTML, RTF, CBZ, CBR. So a ton of different formats you can put on here, which is nice. And a couple other different features here is you can actually connect it to what's it called? Overdrive, which is, I've heard of a different company that does this, but if you have like a library membership, you can actually check out books from your library and put them on here as well through that Overdrive integration. There's also a Pocket integration. Pocket is this sort of web clipper for articles you see online. If you integrate them, you can sort of like clip articles you might be fine while browsing and then be able to read them here on your device, which is also cool. So again, also audiobooks on here through the Kobo library, as well as of course digital options that you can purchase as well. And they have a subscription service too, which is allows, you know, discounted book prices and I think free books as well. It's not something you have to do. You can just buy books and put them on here, but there is that option if you're a huge reader and you read tons of books to be able to pay a monthly fee and then get access to a ton of discounted books or free books and read as much as you want. Let's talk about price. So the device just by itself is $229.99 USD, link in the description. And if you want to add on the Kobo Stylus 2, this is $69.99. I think it's worth it just to have that heightened highlighting experience, if anything. I mean, $70 is not pocket change, but it's also not insane like the Apple Pencil or something like that. And I think it's probably just as good for the use case you're going to be using it for here. And like I said, various cases and stuff as well are available on their site as well. All right, so let's talk about who I think this is for. First of all, I think their marketing, their packaging, everything about this, even the design, even the color choices, kind of scream female to me. And something that when I first saw it, I thought that's a nice looking product, and it is so my wife's aesthetic, like pastel colors, muted tones, different whites and light colors, and even like the highlighting colors here just feel very feminine and elegant to me. And that's not to say a guy can't own one of these, especially if you love reading a ton and maybe you would go the way of like the black version. I think this white version looked kind of dope, to be honest, but even when you open the box, there's like flowery illustrations and stuff, and it seems like they're kind of pushing towards more of a female audience. I think definitely someone who loves reading a ton of books, maybe goes to the pool a lot during the summer, you know, having a waterproof version, easy on the eyes in terms of reading on something like this throughout the night. Also, if you're into like comic books and stuff, the fact this has color e-ink, the Kaleido 3, it's good for that kind of thing too. It's obviously not exactly like reading a physical comic book, but there are colors here, and it is definitely an interesting experience if you haven't tried reading a digital comic book on a color e-ink display like this. I'm also thinking like for kids, having like kids books on here, or maybe like kids chapter books that every now and then have like a photo at the beginning of the chapter or within the book itself. Those images will pop, and as your kid is reading through books on road trips or things like that, this could be a great option to cut down on carrying 20 kids books with you or 20 chapter books and just loading them on here and letting your kids read through those. Definitely could be a market here for younger kids. There's no browser on here or anything, so you don't have to worry about them like looking at stuff they don't need to be doing, or like scrolling social media, of course, doesn't exist on here. So it's fully books, fully notes, thoughtful things that they can be reading and doing on this device. I think the biggest drawback to me is if you're in the Kindle library ecosystem already, you can't easily read them on here. But if you're outside of that, I don't know, this struggle to find any flaws with this. It just is a great experience, designed really well, comfortable to hold, easy on the eyes in very different ways. Whether you're using the light, you can change the color from blue to yellow to be easy on the eyes. It's much easier to read on than something like your phone or a computer or a, you know, an iPad, that kind of LCD tablet. I don't know. I'm just kind of really impressed with this device, and it's solid. It's complete, and you can tell that they've had quite a few years to iterate on this and kind of get it perfect, in my opinion. Thanks again to Kobo for sending this out for review. Again, if you'd like to pick yours up, link in the description down below. It would help out the channel, and we will try to get you all a discount as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Like this video for more like it. Watch this video next. I think you're gonna love it, and I'll see you all in the next one.